You know those people you tell the time of an event 15 minutes ahead of time because you know they'll arrive late? Who would be late for their own funerals, as the phrase goes? Well, that's me. I'll do my best to prepare. I can't seem to get any place on time. It's the most aggravating attribute ever, and it's always my fault. Before I had my nearly 9-month-old daughter Bryn, I was one of those people who took punctuality extremely seriously. I was the type of man who checked the traffic flow on his phone and made sure to get petrol the day before. I even set my oven clock to run 5 minutes faster to ensure an advantage at all times. I was ready for most challenges. However, what I couldn't prepare for was the unpredictability of Bryn. Her needs and moods varied as all babies do. There was no rhyme or reason to her play. She did what she wanted when she wanted, no matter if it made sense or not. It's like she was saying, "No, Dad, I will lay here and eat my foot for exactly 1 minute and 27 seconds. If you attempt to remove it before this time passes, you will be met with total non-cooperation." Not to mention the crying and flailing of the limbs. We had a good enough routine before her mother left us about 3 months ago. Since then, we have just tried to make the best of our situation and establish new routines for Bryn and me. These were the thoughts going through my head as I rushed to Bryn's 9-month doctor checkup. We are early, set, and out the door. Then she pokes the nipple through her bottle and pours it all over herself. So we go back into the house, clean her up, and repeat the process. It's 9:19 and her appointment's at 9:30. It will easily take 20 minutes to get there. I'm not going to super speed or lane weave just to be on time. We will just have to be a little late, again, as usual. We're almost there, only about 5 miles left. I start to allow myself to relax my shoulders a little when Bryn starts wailing. Oh Christ, not again, not now, I think to myself, figuring she poked her bottle open again. You can't take a dirty baby to the doctor ever, but mostly not for a checkup. It just doesn't look right. It isn't right. The pitch and repetition of her screaming are making my head feel like a kettle that's about to boil. Before it reached its crescendo of shrill whistling, I pull over. If I knew then what I know now, I would have never stopped or would have pulled into the nearest gas station. Anything other than where I choose to stop at. I pull over and get out of the car and open the door of the back seat. There she is, snotty and red-faced, her blonde curls sticking to her face with the sweat of frustration. My little sweetheart, she looks just like her mother when she cries. It makes me sad, but I can't think about that now. She knew what she was doing when she left us. No sense in keeping her ghost around, especially in my own head. We pulled over next to a little roadside memorial. A slightly worn but still pretty silver and pink cross is placed there with flowers withered by the hands of time and various other trinkets of memorial. The name on the cross reads Emily Semple. It looks to be a child's. That makes me sadder to think about than when I think about my wife. It's something at least though. A temporary mental vacation into someone else's hell to be able to escape my own. I look her over and thankfully, she hasn't spilled her bottle. Maybe we still have a chance of being somewhat on time. I hand her the bottle back, wipe her face, and kiss her forehead. Thinking if I show her love, it will help calm her down. As if she knew could read my mind, she threw her bottle, and it bounces off of my forehead and onto the floor. Great. I haven't realized how much of a shameful mess my car has become. Napkins, empty bottles, condiment wrappers, baby toys, and maybe even a French fry or two. In my effort to retrieve the bottle, I've knocked some things out of my car onto the roadside. The wind starts to blow some of them into the road. So, not wanting to travel too far away from the car, I grab what I can and stuff the items back into the back seat on the floor, to be cleaned or forgotten about at a later date. We make it to the doctor's office a whopping 20 minutes late. I sheepishly grin and apologize, hoping they can still see her and I don't have to make another appointment to come back. The front desk ladies' voices are understanding, but their eyes certainly had not been. Perhaps they softened when they saw me juggling a baby car seat with a very loud pink diaper bag falling off of my shoulder repeatedly as I tried to continue to calm her down. Yes, she was still wailing away. A nurse with a worn face but kind eyes comes over to us. Now, little lady, what seems to be the matter? That face is too beautiful to be scrunched up screaming like that. Are you hungry? Do you want Daddy to rock you? She turns her gaze to me with a smile. Why don't you take her out, Daddy, and bounce her in your arms a bit? Some babies just hate to be in their car seats any longer than they have to be. I smile, thank her, and take her advice. Just as I get her out and sit down with her, the door opens. Michael Hollander and baby Bryn, we are ready to see you now. Come on back to room 4 with the white and yellow clouds. I gather up all of our things and head back to the room. Bryn finally settles down and snuggles into my shoulder, her thumbs in her mouth, so I knew all was well in Brynville. That's one of her happy places. Taking the thumb train to Brynville, her mom used to say. 2 vaccinations and a few spoons of ice cream later, we pull back in the driveway, ready to recover from the whole ordeal. As I pull her seat out of the car, I notice a little pink elephant with a yellow star on its side. I pick it up and hand it to her as I take her into the house. I don't remember buying this for her. It probably came from her grandmother's house. She always dotes on her. Every time she is out and sees something babyish, she always gets it for her. It was just too cute, and Mimi couldn't leave it there when Bryn would love it so much, she says. Rena, or Mimi as she proclaims herself, is Bryn's maternal grandmother. Since my wife left us, she's gone above and beyond to step up and be there for us. I think it makes her feel better about the situation, as if she somehow feels responsible for her daughter's selfishness and actions. My mother is long gone, and Rena is such a beautiful part of Bryn's life. I would never do anything to take that away from either of them. It's hard to find people you trust to help you, and it's become so hard to do on my own. My phone rings. Speaking of, it's Rena calling. She had told me to call her after the appointment was over, and I had forgotten. I quickly try to think of a somewhat acceptable excuse while I place Bryn in her crib. Coming up with nothing and mentally exhausted, I answered the phone. Hello? I answer. Hey Michael, how did baby girl's appointment go today? You know how I worry about our princess, she said to me. A couple of shots and some tears. Nothing a little ice cream couldn't fix. She's in the 78th percentile for height and 74th for weight, and Doc says is doing beautifully. I replied proudly. I can hear a subtle sigh of relief from her end of the phone. Good. I am glad she's doing okay. Do you both have plans for the day? There's a hopeful tone in her voice as she asks this. No, not really. I'm just going to get some cleaning done and maybe head out to the store later to fill up the freezer. She made a sound of disapproval. Mike, you can't take her out running around all over. She just got shots today and you don't know how she will handle them. Why don't you bring her over here for the day? That way you can do your shopping and clean the house in peace while we have Mimi and Bryn time. After the meltdown and outfit changes earlier, Mimi time does sound like a good idea. I would miss her, but I could get so much more done and maybe even take a nap. She will most likely sleep most of the day anyway, as she always does on shot days. I agree and tell her we will be over in about half an hour. That gives me time to feed her lunch, pack her back up, and bring her over. I start the car, turn on some tunes, and head down the road. It's a beautiful day, and for once, I don't mind driving. I get to spend it fantasizing about my forbidden daytime nap I get to take later. I stop at what seems to be the 100th stoplight, even though it was really only the 3rd. Tom Petty's velvet voice comes across the radio, so I reach down to turn up the volume. The light turns green, and I start to accelerate, humming along and excited to get to her grandmother's house. Suddenly, I felt a jolt large enough to move my entire car. It feels like my teeth are fractured and cutting into my cheeks from the inside. The car flips once or twice, and I feel my head bounce off the steering wheel. All I can think about is my back seat. The automobile comes to a rest on the hood. My body is burning with white-hot anguish. What I assumed were my teeth turned out to be broken window glass. I must have been hit, probably T-boned, and began to dread. My head swims, and my eyes go heavy. I feel like a computer shutting down applications one by one. I'm attempting to use all of my senses to aid me. I hear silence, no crying or yelling. For the first time, I'm afraid by the sound of her quiet. I manage to return my gaze to the one mirror that survived the collision. I saw my little darling in the back seat, upside down, securely fastened in her car seat and unmoving. Her neck bent at an odd position, and blood was everywhere. The last thing I saw before losing consciousness is a tiny child in front of my windshield. Her face is grimy, and she is dressed in what I believe was once a white dress with yellow daisies on it. I fade away. My eyes widen as the phone rings. I feel right at home in my recliner. I jumped up and rushed to my mirror. I feel my head where it hit the driving wheel, but there is nothing. There is no pain, no bruises, and no cuts. I rush to Bryn's room, where she is sleeping soundly in her crib. Either I'm losing my mind, or that was the most lifelike dream I've ever had. I hurry towards her. She wakes up and smiles at me. Her small hand drops something as I hoist her up. I look down and notice a small pink elephant with a golden star. I must have fallen asleep following her appointment today. The phone rang again, startling me. My heart races as I wonder if it's really my wife. Maybe her mother is phoning to check on her and say she misses us, that she lost her mind and wishes to return. I check my phone, and it's Rena. I don't answer and let the call go to voicemail. I'm still dealing with the aftermath of that incident and need to gather myself. I'll call her later. My phone then buzzes with a text message. It's Rena, and it says, "Hey Michael, just calling to check on Bryn's doctor's appointment today. If you don't have anything going on, please bring her over. I would love to spend the day with her. Talk to you soon." Well, I'm definitely not going to be driving anywhere after what happened earlier. So I turn on some Netflix for me and my kiddo. I pop some popcorn for myself and sit down next to her on the couch. I let her snuggle into me, and we stayed like that for a long. Halfway through my popcorn bowl, she notices it. She'd gaze from me to the bowl, then back again. She gives an annoyed groan and furrows her brow, glancing at my bowl. Smiling and grateful to have her, I gave her a piece. I walked to the bathroom, relieved that she seems at ease in one place for once. I am only there for 45 seconds to a minute at most. The living room is silent, and Bryn is on the floor, gazing under the couch with her buttocks in the air. I wait to see what she's doing, assuming she'll pull some lost prize out of there and try to consume it. She does not move. I approach her and shout out to her. "You spilled Dada's popcorn, monkey buttocks. Did you find anything good under there?" She does not reply, move, or breathe. My heart drops, and I hurry to her. I lift her up and roll her over. She resembles a limp doll, and her face is blue. I look over at the popcorn dish. I try everything. I turn her upside down and strike her in the back. I try to insert my fingers down her throat to clear the impediment. There was nothing I could do. All that remains is her lifeless body and the pink elephant at her feet. I gasp and scream in anguish as I struggle with my cell phone to dial 911. My mind spins, and I begin to lose my breath. I look out my window again and see the little girl in the daisy dress, outside and down the street, looking in the direction of my house. Things tilt sideways, and the ground rises to meet me. I fade away. I wake up to my phone ringing again, and this time I let it go to voicemail. My heart is racing so rapidly that I can barely catch my breath. I am still in the situation that my head was put in. No surprise, it's Rena again. Or perhaps for the first time? I'm not sure at this time. I can't think clearly. I've witnessed things that no parent should ever have to see. Who is the small child wearing the dress? Why is this happening to us? Again, I run to Bryn's room. Again, she is sleeping with the pink elephant in her palm. I take it away and put it aside. She awakens and smiles at me. I reach down to grasp her hand as she extends hers toward me, gently falling back asleep. I let it all go, absorbing in her smile. Whatever was going on, whatever hell I was trapped in right now, we were here. Right now, we are very much alive and well. Today, we will do nothing. There will be no vehicle rides, no popcorn, no toys in her bed, and nothing that could harm my darling child. It is my whole purpose in life to defend her, and I will die trying. The same text message emerges from Rena, and I decide to call her again. I try to seem as calm as possible while repeating the same specifics regarding the doctor's appointment. This time, however, I decline the invitation to come over, preferring not to inform her about the horrific events of the day. We plan for me to drop her off the next Sunday, and she inquires, "What is baby girl doing right now?" I say, "She is sleeping in her bed, clutching the elephant." "Hey, you have no idea how much she enjoys it. Where did you find it?" There's a pause. "Michael, I never bought her an elephant toy." I would have remembered. I excuse Bryn for waking up and hang up the phone, bewildered. I go see Bryn. I'll take her into my room and keep her in my bed with me all day. Nothing can hurt us. We simply need to make it through the day, and this nightmare will be done. I approach her cot, and she is still present. She lies silently, not moving or breathing. I frantically search the room for something to hit myself with. Something, anything, to make me pass out so we can start again. So I can have Bryn again. I lost her mother. I cannot and will not lose her either. Wherever she goes, I go. She is the only light I have left in this world. It turns out I don't need to find anything. I felt my breathing slow and the room tilt. The small girl in the outfit has angry eyes that follow me all the way to the floor. The telephone rings. I get up and ignore the phone call. You know the drill. I get to my kid and rouse her awake. Only one thing matters today. I rush to the car with her and strap her into her seat. We head in the direction of her doctor's office. I pray I arrive on time, with no red lights or accidents. I come to the pink and silver cross and pull over, the contents of my stomach spilling down the side of my car as I hurry out. I open the rear door and take the elephant from Bryn. Her eyes widen and her lip puffs out as if she is about to cry. That does not matter, however. I have everything I need. I gaze up at the sky and cry, "I'm sorry, Emily. We did not mean to. Please leave my baby alone. I never intended to take it. She deserves to live." Tears are streaming down my cheeks and spit is pouring from my mouth. "Please." I carefully place the elephant next to the crucifix and move away. I hope to God I did the right thing. We only need to make it through one full day.